you in a bit. Yes. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, and welcome wherever you are. Welcome back to the channel with me, Disco, coming at you live once again from in front of the cans and bottles on the bar where I'm still hazily calling the Disco Arms. Was a bit hazy there for a second. I had a slight panic as I came in. I'd put up the wrong intro, but fortunately it all worked out and it wasn't that bad. So welcome along. In a slightly not really tenuous show connection. Once again, we're doing a supermarket sweep. I know I did that last week. I don't think it worked out that well last week. The show was fine. I wasn't too keen on the beers last week. Didn't really hit the mark. So I've had a little look in the beer stash and once again found some fairly recent supermarket beers, this time from Tesco, that you guys have all probably had already, but it takes me a while to get round to these things. So I've seen loads of these posts over on Instagram about these beers, but let's see how we got on. Welcome aboard, one and all. As always, Mr. Wilson, thanks for popping in. And also, Mr. B, thanks for popping in on a Monday night. I do hope you've got a beer on. Not just those two, everybody, anybody. It's not compulsory, obviously. Hopper in. Good evening, sir. Thanks for wandering along. Just laughing at your content all the time. Just see the name Hopper. It gives me a little chuckle. But yeah, thanks for popping in. More about that later as we go on through the show, hopefully. Show like I've planned it. I haven't planned this one at all. I've just got some beers in to drink. So without further ado, then let's get on to the first one with beer number one, please. And beer number one, please. Messed that up just to prove that it's not all AI and it really is me speaking above that. But yeah, beer number one. Funny name, funny little beer. Well, not funny little beer, funny named one. Jiddlers Tipple. What a fabulous name for a brewery. Hope to find out what that's all about later, because I don't know. I've not really looked them up. I've seen them about. I think Rasco had one of their cans a couple of Christmases back. Panettone Stout, I think, if I remember rightly. Might put that up there if I can find it later in the edit. Yeah, I haven't seen too much. I haven't had too much of their stuff, really. I think I had something in a Beer 52 box once. Anyway, let's get it into the glass. And then we'll talk about it, see what we get. It's called Well Dressed. Or is it called Well Dressed Hazy IPA? Or is it just called Well Dressed? And it's a Hazy IPA. I'm not sure from the can, but it's a 5.1% Hazy IPA anyway. And whilst everybody else is getting bored of Hazy IPAs, I'm kind of getting into them a bit more now. Bit of a gamble on hop content. I've not looked. I just picked this one up in the supermarket on the off chance. Looked kind of interesting, along with the second one, mostly because I did have a vague idea that we'd go like Blue Monday again, because I like to buy stuff now with actual themes, show themes in mind. But there we go. As always, superb. Put it in a London glass, and the old Fuller's Faithful. I need to get one more of them. But yeah, as Dave Wilson correctly reminds me, let's do the photograph before we forget. I'm hoping everything's going to go all right. I mean, camera my phone rather doesn't die and drop the stream out in the middle. But if I do, you'll all know where I've gone. If my phone died. Now we're on 30%. We should just about be okay. I plugged the laptop in. Yes, I have. But there we go. Technical issues as always. Apologies for a little bit of lateness coming in today. A little bit of real life getting in the way this afternoon. But I've got the stream up, so I thought we'd plough on regardless. Well, it photographs pretty well. Straight on, first time, well in there. That said, let's try it on the other. See if it looks even better. Slightly favoured portrait mode. Oh yeah, yeah, even nicer. Really good. Leave the phone there to cook whilst we get into this beer. Yeah, like I say, I hope you've all got a beer on. Not compulsory if you haven't, don't worry about it. Mr. Wilson is drinking a New England IPA. Gifted and handcrafted by Rob. It's very good. Well, fair play. No doubt it will be from Rob's own a personal hand, homebrewed. Nipa's one of your favourites, really? I thought you didn't like bitterness. For me, Nipa's all about grapefruit and pine, as opposed to West Coast, which is all about pine and grapefruit. Yeah, had a New England Pale Ale at the weekend, and it was one of our beers, and I'm not a big fan of it. But there you go. Yeah, not a big fan of New England, particularly. I thought I preferred the West Coast, but then I had a West Coast Pale last week on the show. That one for duration. It was, yeah, just like getting smashed around the face with a grapefruit beanbag, as I said last week. Anyway, this one, an IPA, straight up, 5.1%, so good strength. Looks pretty good in the glass. Not massive, not as hazy as not as hazy as some of the beers. There's a little bit of glow through that. I can see the screen, at least the colours rather than anything else, but it's definitely hazy. Head retention was good. Head development was good. The retention has gone down a little bit. But it looks nice and soft and pillowy in there. So let's dive straight in and see what we can find with a sniff. Yeah, not too bad. I'm sniffing more tropical and orange rather than grapefruit, so that's a good start. Doesn't mean that will go through on the taste. Let's see if I get smashed around the head with any grapefruit beanbags tonight. As always, cheers and enjoy the beers. Well, you can tell from the massive slurp I took and the lack of wincing that we're going in okay with that one. There's a big sticky sweetness up front, which I don't mind. Doesn't bother me. A lot of people don't like that, but kind of sort of like kind of pineapple jam going on. There's plenty of citrus in there. There is a touch of grapefruit, but it's a little bit further back. Past potentially a bit of lime in there. There could be some New Zealand style hops in that. I generally haven't looked at this one. I just picked them up because they look like they might be all right, and I wanted to have a look at Jiddlers Tipple. I've seen them about on Instagram a lot. They have these kind of interesting arty patterns on the cans. So much so that I think whoever it is that does the Instagram, whether it's the owner, head brewer, or whatever, actually has a shirt the same colour as their pale ale and the same pattern as well. It's like a Hawaiian style shirt, and normally I would be like turned off a little bit by that, but I think it looks pretty good that he has a shirt the same as the can art, so that's fair play. Love Lane I found yesterday, a bit of a fail to be honest. Yeah, Love Lane is one of them. They were doing great things, I think struggled a bit, and then predominantly on supermarket shelves and not necessarily good supermarket shelves. That's not to say I'm completely against supermarket beer. When you get something like this from, maybe an underrated or lesser rated, less well-known brewery, I say they're doing kind of big things on Instagram, so I see them about, but they get around to a lot of festivals and stuff like that in the London area. Let me know. Have you heard of Jiddlers Tipple? I've only had one beer and I'm already conflating Jiddlers Tipple. Funny name that. I don't know what a Jiddler is, but we all know what a tipple is. Should have done this on a Tuesday for Tuesday Tipple, really, but I went with Monday Club because it kind of fitted in. May or may not get around to doing those Turning Point beers tomorrow, the custard session. That's the plan, but some real life shit's getting in the way a little bit at the moment, so we'll see what happens tomorrow. Love Lane and Out, owned by, that's a really weird combination of is Home Bargains even a supermarket? It's just a outlet. It's a retail place, isn't it? But yeah, so I've heard that too. That they own a Love Lane, hence a lot of cheap, not necessarily good cheap beers about. The Blackbird Stout. Fair enough. Fair enough. I don't have a Home Bargains nearby that I can get to. I'm not even sure where the nearest one is, so I haven't really gone in for them in a massive way. I've had a couple of beers out of Home Bargains along the way, and they haven't been all that. So I don't know. There's also some other citrus fruits in that one there. Now there's a bit of, I think it's like tangerine or something. Let's have a look. Anyway, I'm intrigued because, yeah, like I say, nice kind of marmalade-y sweetness, bits of citrus floating around, natural bits of the flavour. Yeah, sort of tangerine, bit of lime. Not too much in the way of grapefruit. It is fairly well balanced across all of those as well. I'm going back for more, so it must be quite good. There's no wincing, there's no grapefruit, no pine. Big hit anyway. There's no real hoppy note. There's a lot of fruit and a lot of marmalade jamminess. Happy Shopper. Happy Shopper's still around. But Happy Shopper Shandy from way back, showing your age there, Hopper. But then so am I. Right, let's have a look, see what we got on this can, see what's the information, see what the lowdown is. There's a lot of writing on it, to be fair. Kind of stamp kind of label, which is kind of interested, different. Anyway, what they say on this can is, say hello to this impeccably well-dressed IPA. I was going to put a shirt and tie on for this and then ran out of time and completely forgot. Anyway, never mind. I'll just be scruffy old disco as usual, whatever. Adorned with a devilishly good-looking hop combo. Will be the judge of that, or I will. Eldorado, Citra, Azaka, and Crush, which is one I've heard of but don't know anything about. It feels like the Crush might be doing a lot of heavy lifting in this to really balance out that Citra and Azaka into something more rounded and like I say, there's that kind of that fruitiness rather than mad hoppiness. Eldorado, Citra, Azaka, and Crush, and proudly sporting a malt bill filled with oats, good, and wheat. Yeah, I can see that actually. This IPA is going to be a welcome at any occasion. This velvety, not so much, but fair play. Fruit salad of a beer, definitely, is low on bitterness, good, and high on flavour. Think mango, pineapple, and touch of citrus zest. I got that. This hazy IPA is bursting with tropical swagger and slips on as easily as a tailored suit. Cheers. Nice. At Jiddlers Tipple, we make inclusive, delicious, and eco-friendly beer. The core range are carbon negative, vegan, gluten-free, and lower ABV, 3.8%. They are also wrapped in vintage shirt patterns, so they look as good as they taste. Hence, the owner or head brewer, whoever it is, having a shirt that matches one of the can arts. Oh, hello. Win beer for a year. Yes, I will. If that works, whether that will. Yeah, pause that. Do the old QR code on that. I will have a little look later. I would be more than happy if I won some of this beer. To be fair. Yeah, like I say, that Citra and Azaka. Eldorado, I don't know too much about, but Eldorado is in that New England I was talking about earlier. And I wasn't so keen on it. I can see how maybe dial down the hops a little bit. I see more of those hops could swing it much more towards the grapefruit end of citrus. But they have balanced it out nicely on a bit of, fruit salad kind of tropicalness with some mango, pineapple, touch of orange for me, but also permeated, like I say, with the other citrus flavors of lemon, touch of lime maybe, and nowhere, not near enough grapefruit to be a problem. There is bitterness there, but it's low. Again, another very sessionable summer beer for me. I would smash that down as I am. You know, you can tell if you've seen the show before, and I know plenty of you have. You can tell from the first slurp whether I'm going to enjoy the beer. You know, whether that big hop hit, that big grapefruit number comes out. Like I say, this is not like being hit round the head with a grapefruit beanbag. It's nice. I like the sweetness. The big sweetness at the front end really helps. Here we go. Some information. The main man is Jacob Liddell. So hence where you get the name Jacob Liddell's Tipple, Jiddlers Tipple, maybe. I like a bit of a name association and some rhyme schemes. Another home brewer turned pro. Well, I guess they all are to a certain extent. But fair play. Love Lane beer for a year. Yeah, not so much. Not so fussed on that. Right, well, because I need to find a little bit more, let's have a quick look, as I do like to. Let's have a quick look around on the website, see what we can find, anything interesting. See, that's what I say about the artwork, and I think it's that one, the Everyday Pale Ale, that he's got a shirt in the same color. I'll come back to the Tipples themselves in a minute. Let's see. What's it all about? Ooh, there we go. As you say, Jacob Liddell. Now, talking about showing your age, Hopper. Not so much in that photograph, actually, but for me, and this is not a slight. Anybody remember the program Home Sweet Home? It was one of the very early sitcoms to feature Martin, what's his name, out of Men Behaving Badly. But yeah, the neighbour in Home Sweet Home, very much just because of the moustache mostly and the same colour hair. Can't remember his name. Howard, I think. Am I talking to myself here? Does anybody remember this? Do let me know. That's definitely a late 80s, early 90s reference. Anyway, excuse me. Following a fairly long stint in the world of luxury travel, both within sales and operations. Hang on, that's Alice Morehouse, operations manager. So she's come across to do the operations. Favorite Jiddlers Tipple beer, Juicy Chug Hazy Apricot IPA. I like apricot. I like apricot beers. You see very, very few purely apricot beers. Probably because of the hops, I guess, unless you're going to actually put apricots. And apricots are very expensive, but I've had one or two. The main one I've had is not operating anymore, so going to have a little look at that. Nothing about Jacob there, which is a shame. I'd like to know a bit more, but there you go. You guys already know more about him. Anyway, the beers then. It's good that they put this on here. Like a bit of information, maybe just I'm a nosy git, I don't know. Got an alcohol-free version. There's this one. I'm well-dressed hazy IPA. I think I'll come down with a bit of a cough here. Have to deal with that tomorrow. One more thing to deal with. Say hello. Hang on, I've already read all that out, haven't I? That's everything's on the can. That's good. From 14.99. So 3 cans, £5 a can. Since I'm guessing that's 3.50 in Tesco's, it's once again a bit naughty. Now, obviously, because of the size of the brewery, they've got to put them out at that, whatever, that's fine. £5 for this is not the end of the world. It's about right, but if I put them into Tesco's at £3.50, I'm sure it was. I've long since lost the receipt, but there you go. I want to see if apricot IPAs on there. Yule Log Stout sold out. Like I say, Rasco had the Panettone Stout, and I've seen that one about, and obviously missed that as well. Hell of a pint glass there, with a great artwork. But yeah, not the apricot one. I'll want to have a look out for that one if they bring that back. But there you go. Like I say, solid artwork, and once again, all the information on the front of the can. Not so much the percentage. I'm sure it is. But yeah, B&A Brewery amongst the artwork. Yeah. Good stuff. Well, if you don't remember it, then and I can't remember all the names involved already. That's annoying. What's his name? Martin Neil Morrissey and Martin Clunes. He was in it. Very young though. Well, if you don't remember it, let's move on. Don't worry about it. Yeah, don't know. What do we think about Jiddlers Tipple? Do we see them around a lot, or are they just kind of very London centric? I imagine, I didn't say, but I imagine they're East End somewhere. Yeah, really nice kind of really nice fruit notes in that. Really nice balance to it, to the citrus. Really, yeah, light hoppiness, light bitterness. Then Sainsbury's as well. So I was just on the Instagram. Should pay attention. And yeah, I would see this. This is the thing now. Will you see them at beer festivals across London so much now that they're in Tesco's? Often, sort of, it's a route that some people don't necessarily like. So you lose a slight amount of customer base, but gain a much bigger one in Tesco's. Sad to say. But it's definitely nicely hazy, nicely fluffy, pillowy. Oats doing a lot of heavy lifting as well. Also with that sweetness in a way. Yeah, a little more bitterness, a little bit more grapefruit towards the end. Eldorado popping up to say hello alongside the Azaka. But it's nice, really nice. It's a good starter beer for me. If I'm having a session, it's a good starter. Something nice and light, but yet sweet, fruity, and very, very drinkable, to be fair. Yeah, what more can I say? Not massive lacing on the glass, but slips down well enough. So, yeah, cheers, Jiddlers Tipple. A good starter IPA for me for that. Sits on the palate well with all that fruitiness and slips down really nicely. What more could you ask for? Especially nice and cool. It's been in the fridge all day. Yeah, presents really nice. So, yeah, with that in mind, let's move straight on to beer number 2, please. Beer number 2 is a bigger beer anyway. Moving up north to Yorkshire again, to Ossett Brewery's King Rat. 7.4% hazy IPA. I think they've launched 1 or 2 of these into supermarkets from Ossett. Ossett, doing a little bit of empire building from up in Yorkshire. So you see them about a fair bit. Produced one of my favourite beers back in the day under the Fernandez Brewery brand, which I guess was a brewery they swallowed up and then kind of went into us. It was just their chocolate orange stout. Had a fantastic afternoon in Liverpool after the Liverpool FA Cup game about 7 years ago. Found it, and he reckoned it was the only place outside of Wakefield that did it, their chocolate orange stout. But that was a stout. This isn't. Let's get it into a glass and see what we can find. Again, everybody else has probably had this one before me. If you do supermarket beers, I don't rush out for supermarket beers anymore, but often I pop into Tesco's a fair bit, and I'll see stuff on the shelves, and I think, oh, you know what? Especially if I'm on the 4 for the price of 3 or whatever deal. Yeah, it looks all right in the glass. Another fluffy, medium-sized head, and again, kind of pale lemony yellow. Definitely a bit more hazy, this one. Photo reminder, so let's do that. Thank you as ever, Mr. Wilson. Excuse me, that cough is not helping. That might affect future streams for the rest of the week. Right, let's see how that goes. Quite like the artwork on that one, fairly simple. I'm not sure rats is something you want to associate with beer, but there you go. What can you do? Photographs well as well. Yeah, it looks good. Let's clear your nasal passages so I can get a good sniff at it. See what quick we can get out of this one. I think it looks good in the glass, actually. Although it looks like it could possibly be a bit more grapefruity. Let's see. What have you guys got to say? David and I had a weekend project beer last week. It was good. Yeah, the weekend project beer I had last week, the Foggy Ridge, surprisingly good. I didn't say about being a foggy IPA. I think it's just from the name, and that was styled as a New England IPA. But it was a big beer and a big can. And yeah, I kind of enjoyed that. So I have to see a little bit more from them. Ah, yes, of course. You had the Island Hopper. Yeah, I was talking about that. Obviously, mainly directed at Hopper last week. Well, there you go. It's a good beer. I'll take that. Half a good name there. Well, that's one for you. Yeah. Pointed that one out last week. This one had this recently and wasn't as impressed as I'd hoped I would be. Fair play. That was a bit like me with the duration last week. Let's see what we get then. Right. Okay. Yeah, that. Yeah, it's got a good aroma though. Plenty fruits going on there, but got that aroma that suggests that the fruit might head towards grapefruit in the taste, not in the smell. It's got that kind of malty smell with a certain indistinct fruitiness. It might be okay though, might surprise me, but it's got, again, plenty of oats in there, probably. Just looking a little bit more grapefruity on the body, but let's dive in and see. See where we go. Cheers. Ouch. Yeah. Yeah, it's heading towards grapefruit beanbag again. It's not bad beer wise. Pretty decent, solid body. Plenty of fruit flavors, but a slight hoppy overtone for me. And then the fruit goes towards grapefruit a little bit. Again, I must stress that's not the fault of the beer. That's my palate. You know, I don't like grapefruit. I say it often enough. I'm going to keep saying it because it's like I've got to say something, and I got to be honest. A duration from Bruiser, and they must be crap and awful. Oh, okay, that's sad to hear. I thought duration is generally well thought of, and I'd like to try some of their other beers. But there you go. There's so much beer. They've never won. I've looked on their website multiple times, and I did the other day, and there was a few there that were interesting, but not universally. Oh, I must get that. But then I shouldn't have got these really, because these look universally just the same as many other breweries, and they are. That flavour is the same as I've tried in dozens of beers. These guys have sort of just got lucky and got a supermarket deal, and I've looked at them and gone, let's give them a bounce at $3.50, you know, which is the same as that duration one. Well, I thought, I'll give it a go. It'll make a good. I want to know what it tastes like. You know, it looks all right. Yeah, I'm just not a big fan of the bitterness of the grapefruit, and there's a little bit of that in there. Again, I suspect there's citra in there. I really do. It's one. It's a bit more. It is a bit more balanced grapefruit. It is. There's a nice, again, marmalade kind of sweetness coming through. A bit of sort of. I know pineapple marmalade is a thing, but yeah, there's that kind of sort of sticky sweetness and a touch of pineapple that balances off that grapefruit. Yeah, I still don't want that much grapefruit, but it's just about balanced across. You've got the smoothness from the oat. So I like a smooth beer. If it's got a bit of bitterness to it, as long as it's like oaty smooth and sweet, I'm fine. It's not going full bore on a grapefruit, but it is kind of there. Yeah, so I don't dislike it. I'll tell you what it is. It's challenging. That's what it is. It's challenging in that all that oaty sweetness and that marmaladiness is balancing across that slight dive towards grapefruit. And are they going to be 7.4%? I'll tell you what, that doesn't really come through. So it's slightly more bitter and more grapefruit than that one, and it's slightly smoother, slightly more velvety than that one. I suppose there is a slightly more spirity edge there. I said last week, and there was a big one I had last week, that kind of vodka orange kind of edge, and it's heading towards that a little bit. That's not a bad thing either, by the way. Pledge your allegiance to King Rat, a bold and brash leader, delivering big, juicy flavors to his hop-loving loyalists. A hazy IPA loaded with Citra, Galaxy, and Topaz, another new hop. Seems we had the crush in there. Topaz, don't know anything about Topaz. I've not even heard of Topaz hops. It says hazy, juicy, oozing with stone fruit flavour. Grapefruit's not a stone fruit, but only that pithy bitterness I'm getting with a kind of that peach stone kind of pithy bitterness, maybe. So I don't entirely agree with that. There's more information, to be fair. The rat range emerges from the Ossett Brewery nest, venturing out from our Huddersfield brew pub. I didn't realise they were Huddersfield. I thought they were Wakefield. The Huddersfield brew pub is the Rat and Ratchet. Rat stands confident on his own 4 feet, born from the shadows, crafted for the bollocks that, innit? But at least they put that information on there. I like that, especially the hop information. Fair play. A little bit more lacing on the glass there. It's one of those beers that heads dangerously towards me feeling the need to shandy a little bit, just to get that citrus back towards lemon, just to balance everything out a little bit more. But I like the sticky sweetness. I like the oatiness. I like the light enough malty body, but you can feel a bit of maltiness there. It's an interesting one because there is plenty to go back for. Plenty of fruity flavours, but yeah, Galaxy, innit? Galaxy and Citra. It's just like, but that Topaz. Anybody know anything about Topaz hops? Because I don't. Let's have a little look, shall we? I knew as soon as I said that I was going to have to go and Google it, but come straight in, Mr. Wood. Topaz listed as light tropical fruit flavors of lychee, clove-like spice, and resinous grassy tones when dry hopped. Lychee, maybe. Only because you've said it when I say there's a slight sort of savouriness to it, maybe to that. There is a little bit of resinous. It's more piney resinous than grassy, but it's still doing a bit of lifting with that kind of, like I say, going towards that grapefruit piffiness a little bit. Had a refreshing alcoholic kombucha from Stiff Tea. I was impressed, but folk in my company not so. I've had kombucha. I don't really get it well. There's a kombucha workshop up the farm by the brewery. One obviously independent, nothing to do with us, but I've tried some of their stuff and it's interesting, but yeah, that kind of, I don't get that slight sour note on the edge of it that makes it refreshing. Yeah, I do with beer, so I'm not against it. I'm just like, yeah, fair play. No, not a wrong one. You've got to try these things. Fair play to Rob for giving it a go. Especially if you liked it. Yeah, I would be. I'm on the fence with kombucha. I don't really know enough about it. Like, yeah, just have a beer. Maybe I don't know enough about fermentation. That vodka, it's not quite vodka orange, it's vodka grapefruit juice coming through a little bit. But that's where that kind of spicy, slightly clovey edge comes in as well with the vodka sort of note. It's sort of a bit of a bite, but it's not a hoppy bite. It's a kind of alcohol bite. It's not a burn. It's an interesting one, that actually. It's sort of, I don't dislike it, but I'm not mega impressed with it. But it's a good beer. It's nicely put together. The hops do a lot of work in there, but it's also balanced across, like I say, with a kind of oaty, wheaty body. I would say it is kind of, we use this term a lot. Is it balanced? And if it's grapefruit, for me, it's not balanced. But that's yeah. I'm not amazed by it, but it's perfectly drinkable. You know, it's a step up from the Jiddlers, and it's perfectly drinkable. It is, yeah, got a little bit of that bitterness, but perfectly drinkable. I don't dislike it, but I don't massively like it. But it's perfectly decent, in my humble opinion. And again, I think it was $3.50 at Tesco, so it's quite reasonable kind of pricing for a big beer as well. Maybe it was £4 because there were some, but I don't think I bought all these three together. I think I bought these two together, and maybe a couple of others in like a 4 for 3 thing. So it was all right, and probably better than many of the others on the line. It's certainly better than your supermarket, not staples, but something that's been brewed to a price point to get it in the supermarket. I'm thinking of your Northern Monks and your Vocations a little bit. That's a little bit out of turn for me, to be fair. But yeah, it feels more like they haven't brewed it to a price point, but they've got it in under that to go in the supermarket. There is several others on the rat series. Let's have a quick look. You guys have probably all seen this, but let's have a look anyway. Right, there we go. There's King Rat. So yeah, that one there. They've got plenty of others in the range. Hell Rat. Hang on, let's just look at the thing. Let's look at the shop. White Rat. I've had White Rat. Hoppy Pale Ale. Definitely had White Rat back in the day. Probably wasn't that impressed with it because of the hoppiness. Mostly used to Ossett in bottles, but now they've gone to can. Silver King I've had definitely whilst drinking up north. Again, on I don't know if it'd been keg or cask, but again, found that a bit hoppy. Cascade hops, crisp, dry, and refreshing pale ale. Citrus fruit, probably grapefruit, and balanced bitterness. Don't think it was, but yeah, not sure about that. Well, let's have a look at the rat range. There we go. Oh, hello, Fat Rat. What was that? Chocolate and hazelnut stout. Hello. Now we're talking. Hell Rat, Heller's Lager. Sounds good. White Rat. Oh, Lab Rat. What's that one? So that's the brewery. Lovely old kind of Yorkshire sandstone kind of place. Right. What's in the collection? Let's have a look. Key lime pie sour. Hello. Hell Rat there is described as a rice lager. So rice hellers, not sure about that. But yeah, Lab Rat key lime pie sour. Yes, I would have a go at that. Fat Rat is a marshmallow chocolate hazelnut stout. I would absolutely have a go at that. At 8%, by the way. Sounds fabulous. Really don't need to buy any more beer at the moment, but if I was, I would definitely have some Lab Rat and some Fat Rat. Let's have a look, see what else they've got. Hell Rat in, yeah, that's what we were saying about, yeah. Well, they got the rice lager then. Sorry, I've gone all over the place. Yeah, Fat Rat looks fabulous. That's a great photo shoot, isn't it? Anyway, what else have we got? That's about it, by the seams. Haven't got that Fernandez one in the chocolate orange. But trust me, that was one of the best chocolate orange stouts, and chocolate orange stouts are quite difficult, I believe. But that was good. But I thought they took that back under the Ossett range rather than Fernandez. In fact, I don't know if they've given up the Fernandez stuff because they had a bunch of stuff, and I'm sure that's where the Rat series originated, and now they've just brought it all under Ossett. And if I remember rightly, don't Ossett own? I think Ossett own. Is it Saltaire or Salt that Ossett own? Oh bollocks! I forgot to share. Sorry, forgot to share it. What a dickhead. There you go. There's the rat's nest. Yeah, I'm sure the Ossett is the kind of slightly more traditional, although they're going into kind of more craft stuff. Say they got the bottles, and now they're doing the more craft stuff with the Rat series. But I'm sure they own. Is it Salt or Saltaire they own? Did correct me. Simo didn't enjoy King Rat from his review. I can sort of see why. Nodded Hopper. Fair play. I'm not enjoying it. It's very interesting. It's got a lot of them flavours that I don't necessarily like, and it's diving a bit too much towards grapefruit. I'm enjoying trying it. I'm not against it. as I say, based on that chocolate orange stout, I'm a big fan of Ossett. I just don't get their beers very often. As you know, in a set of three, I was fairly certain that they'd all sit together pretty well, and it does. It's challenging, but not tough, not really massively challenging. Um, it's a step up in bitterness because of that 7.4% from the other one. Ralph turned you off by sitting on the remote. Thanks, Ralph. Maybe Ralph did you a favour. I don't know. Yeah, so I'm saying I quite like this one. I like the sweetness again, that marmalade fruit note. And it's definitely hitting the mark. I can feel that 7.4% with that kind of slightly vodka. It's not really vodka orange. It's definitely vodka grapefruit juice, sort of spirity edge to it. It's one that hits the mark for me, but my palate doesn't like it so much with that grapefruit note. But all the other fruits in there and that kind of sweetness is nicely balanced. And yeah, I'm okay with that. Again, for a supermarket beer, 350 or whatever it is, 354 quid. It's one that if I was a different kind of drinker, I think I could just pick it up. You know, if I'm what I used to do when traveling about the country is find a Tesco's or find a supermarket by the station coming back from football. So it's a superb thing to pick up as a train beer. And we didn't get this kind of stuff as train beers then. Whereas now, if I'm diving into a Tesco, would I pick? Yeah, probably. 3-hour train journey. Couple of these, get on. Well, both of these, to be fair, followed by a stout. Yeah, it's a very drinkable beer for me. Challenging to my palate, but getting away with it. Like I say, especially finding out about new hops. Topaz, light tropical flavors, definitely. I don't know about lychee. Not so much on clove, a little bit of spice maybe. But again, balanced against citrus, balances the Citra and the Galaxy, I think, and plenty to talk about. And again, great head retention in this beer, particularly. It's not about the hops, but that's a great head retention. So I think a well-made beer, especially for a supermarket shelf turd. I'm not sure we can call them supermarket shelf turds anymore. And that's feels like it's really difficult for me to say, having just as a 7.4%. But yeah, I'm fine with that. And there's a lot of people who have a different palate to me that would really enjoy that, I think. If you don't like bitterness, then probably not. But yeah, I slam that back fairly easily. And with that, it's gone. So it can't be that bad. You know, smashed it down fairly easy. I haven't winced. I haven't moaned about grapefruit. I've just noted its presence. So it's not that bad. For my palate. And I'm all about talking about tastes and flavours of beers. As you know, on these streams, I like to delve into the beer and see what I can find with roast fruit notes. Mr. B not on a beer tonight, but I have partaken in some chamomile tea. Does chamomile tea have an H in it? Chamomile tea. And about to have a matcha latte. Matcha latte I know very little about, but we do. The bakery up at the brewery next door do a matcha latte cookie, which is a bit weird. Slightly green cookie. Not sure it's good, but it's got a good taste and flavour. I'd try a matcha latte. It's interesting. There's a few matcha latte beers about that I'd be interested in trying. Right. So I tell you what. Yeah, yeah, that vodka and fruit juice kind of note on that one is sitting nice. So I'll tell you what we'll do. We shall immediately go to the big finale. It's not a big finale because it's the middle bit is a finale. I'm talking bollocks now. Right. Anyway, beer number 3, please, Disco, if you'd be so kind. And beer number 3, having said what I said about Vocation and Northern Monk and all that earlier in supermarkets, it's a Vocation beer. Having seen the size of Vocation tanks on the internet, they're quite pleased about having massive tanks. They brew a massive batch of beer. I'm not sure what they are. 5,000 litres, 2,000 litres, I'm not sure. But they're all over all of the supermarkets pretty much. And this one is part of their Naughty and Nice range. It is a white chocolate and raspberry chocolate stout. Now, having had Vocation last week at M&S, and I wasn't massively complimentary about it. So much so that when I put the review up on Instagram today, I really didn't have time to think about the words. So I sort of cheated slightly and just put the photograph up, and I might come back to the words a bit later. But if I remember rightly, that was like cookie dough, cookie fudge or something. And I remember it being okay. It was a good finish to the review last week, to the stream. The stream there where I said at the start of the show I didn't really enjoy the beers that much. I enjoyed the stream. It was fine. Plenty of people popped in and said hello. But yeah, so Vocation, I'm sort of on the fence by, especially this Naughty and Nice range. I suspect, like many breweries, they get a base stout and just change the flavorings or the adjuncts a little bit. Sharky, good evening to you, sir. Good afternoon. I hope you had a good weekend and a good Monday start to the day. I was going to talk about the weekend. Weekend went by in a massive blur. Again, up the brewery. I went in on Friday. Wasn't working. Had a few beers. That was good. Enjoyed that. Saturday, I set up the bar at 11. I literally did not look up again until about 4. No, about 4:15. Where I managed to squeeze in a quick pizza before they sold out, and a lot of people missed out. And then carried on to 8:00, and it was drinking pretty much. Well, so I was working. I wasn't drinking, but. Yeah, and then I had a few beers afterwards and got home fairly late. And by the time I got home, I watched a few people lives, but not for very long. And then I eventually dozed off. So it was a very, very big weekend. You worked the weekend. Oh, fair play. And now you're off. Excellent. Drinking a pale ale. Drinking your pale ale. Superb. So I had quite a good weekend, to be fair. Let me get this beer in a glass and then we'll find out what I did at the weekend. It's not an amazing thing, but yeah, I had a good weekend. Some good beers. Not too much. Oh, hello. Oh, so it is a white stout. Right. So white chocolate and raspberry stout, chocolate stout, but it's a white stout. Again, because I don't read them before I do these reviews, it's a white stout. Okay. Because it's white chocolate and raspberry, it is actually a white stout. Now, in the glass, it's much, much lighter. It looks really orange there, but it is a stout. And white stouts confuse me. I hope this is going to be good. I really do. I'm going to do the photograph. It's going to make it easier, probably. I'm going to put that down. Than an actual dark stout. I assumed it was going to be a dark stout, actually, because they didn't actually specify white stout. So that's a bit of a shock. I'm quite intrigued, even more so now. Yeah, what do you think about white stouts? It's more of an orange stout, to be fair, but it's got all the right colours. Gonna do that again because I'm not pleased. On the photo, yeah, but that's really surprised me. Nice head development, and it's sticking around, so it looks good in the glass. Anybody had this one? Actually, again, I don't remember when I picked this one up, but I think it was before the other two. There's a coffee gold stout that I love. It could be a white stout. A gold stout, I've had that term as well, and I'm not sure what the difference is between a white stout and a gold stout. It could be difficult because of the fruit content of the others. But yeah, it looks much lighter behind the camera. Really interesting. A bunch of carbonation rising up the glass, which you just don't really ever see on a stout that much. Good head retention sticking around. Let's have a little sniff. Oh, wow. So it's white chocolate and raspberry, but it feels like there's some kind of orange note to it. That might just be the colour. Yeah, absolutely. Mess with your head, the white stouts. I try it, except for his vocation. Conflicted. Yeah, me too, a little bit. But it looks good. It looks interesting. I'm not sure what that nose is. Yeah, no, okay. So there's white chocolate there. Yeah, there's the raspberry. It still feels like a little bit of orange on the aroma. Yeah, I think that will definitely mess with you. I always find white stouts, a little bit rough for a stout. I want nice sweetness, smoothness, chocolatiness from a stout. White chocolate is really, really difficult to do in a beer, I'm led to believe, because of the different fats. So I don't know. But Vocation, like David says here, Vocation, and I've said this before on Vocation beers, a lot of their description is chocolate flavor or raspberry flavorings. So I'm not really sure. White stout messes your head because the beer tastes like a stout yet looks like a pale ale. Absolutely. And I guess this kind of does. And that aroma's not helping. And it is very tempting to put raspberry and white chocolate together because they do go so well together. So this is an interesting one. Cheers. Let's see what we get. Yeah, there's that slight roughness around the edge. Does not taste like a chocolate stout. Interesting. Oh, there's that kind of rough bitterness as well. That's why I say there's an orange kind of orange peel, orange zesty bitterness going on. I had a kind of chocolate milk stout yesterday. Wandered up to Rickmansworth yesterday. Went to see Paul, Creative Juices, to finally get around to trying their new milk stout. And that was interesting. I tell you what, before I had that, I had Fierce Beers Iron Brew. Normally you say Iron Brew Sour, but it wasn't. It was like a pale ale with Iron Brew flavourings. It was really, really nice, properly sweet, but it sort of conflicted with the stout a little bit, and that's what I'm getting a little bit here. A little bit of that kind of orange zestiness, but there's no stout flavour to that at all, and I'm not against that. There's no roastiness, no chocolatiness like milk chocolate or dark chocolate. There can't be any black malt in that. There can't be any chocolate malt in that. They've gone all out to try and get the white chocolate note, and it is there. So is the raspberry, but I'm getting orange. I've got this image in my head of like a pipette of orange spiritiness or something, some kind of not essential oils. There's a little bit of fragrance of essential oils. I saw a great thing yesterday about essential oils. I've never had an essential oil, and I'm 40 odd years old. So if they're not essential oils by the time I'm 40, maybe they're just optional oils. Anyway, that's beside the point. I haven't told that joke very well. Yeah. The comedian who I forgot his name did. That's nice. It is really nice beer. It is just odd. There's no white chocolate smooth milkiness. It is very much. There is a white chocolatey note to it. It's not a creaminess. It's more about the raspberry, but it's definitely more about that kind of odd orange note. It's not bad by any means. Don't get me wrong. It's just really, really interesting. Very different. As a what I think is a white stout, it's come across much more balanced than a lot of white stouts. There is still that rough edge to it. I don't know if this is still available in Tesco's. I can't remember when I picked it up, but it's very, very interesting. It's definitely different, and I'm slightly shocked by it. I'm slightly pleased with it. It's very drinkable. It is smooth, but it has got that slightly rough edge. I tell you what it reminds me of. That's what it reminds me of. Cointreau, slightly. The roughness of Cointreau. It's got that sort of slight spiritiness to it. That's maybe I'm just like off my nut, but I like it. I genuinely like it. It's different, but it's not raspberry. There's a bit of raspberry, but it's definitely more kind of orange orange piffiness, orange bitterness kind of thing. Yeah, very strange, but really nice. Yeah, very odd. Let's have a look. See what we can find. I'm not going to look on the Vocation website because we've done that countless times before. Not necessarily found a lot, but bold and beautiful beer for the many. Tasting notes: rich, silky, sweet, chocolatey. Yeah, kinda. Yeah, there's a white chocolate note to it, but it's not chocolate. Anyway, right. So it says naughty and nice, creamy white chocolate and raspberry blend with the roasted warmth of our signature stout. There's nothing like their signature stout. The one last week was a signature stout, a light malt base with hints of vanilla. Yeah, never get vanilla. A subtle jammy sweetness. It's more orange marmalade for me, but yeah, they're not wrong. Give way to deep, rich chocolate flavors, indulgent and irresistibly silky. When you say chocolate, you think milk chocolate, you think dark chocolate. Don't necessarily think white chocolate. I like white chocolate, and I'm still not getting white chocolate particularly here now. But I like this beer. It's nice. It's different. I tell you what I got in the cupboard, and I've been meaning to do for a long time, but I keep running out of time on a Sunday, is that Siren white chocolate stout in the Caribbean chocolate cake range. And it's the only one of last year that I got. And I keep meaning to do it on like a stout Sunday. And I imagine that's what this is. Good question. Very good question. Don't see lactose. Let's have a look. Yeah. Yeah, malted barley, oats, lactose. That'll be, I guess, the sweetness. There is that kind of thing. I don't know. Like I say, there is definitely orange rather than raspberry, but I can see a little bit of raspberry. So yeah, lactose is a good call. You know the one I mean. It's in the cupboard. I'm gonna do it with a couple of other stouts under the title of "It's Stout Gin, but not as we know it," because it's not a regular stout. This is not a regular stout. It doesn't even taste like a stout for me, particularly. Yeah, so I I had a chat with I had a good conversation. I remember talking about a beer from one of my locals, but it was an American brewer over here called Mad Yank, and they did a white chocolate and raspberry. That wasn't a stout, that was a pale ale. He said white chocolate's really difficult because of all the oils and stuff. That's what I say about the oils in this one. It feels like there's some oils in it, like that oiliness of the oiliness you get in an orange distilled, uh, and the white chocolate, the phenols from orange, and the white chocolatey fats. And he said like dealing with white chocolate in a beer, you get like the fats and proteins of chocolate from the lactose. So yeah, the lactose definitely in there. Um, this one is just so different, so different. It's what I imagine, because I have looked at the can of that Siren one. It's what I imagine the Siren one to be about, roughly. Um, it's a really nice beer, really nice, so different, so different. Um, and one I'm really pleased I picked up in this. I mean, for a supermarket beer, this makes no sense because it's not run of the mill, it's not average. If people see this and see chocolate stout, they'll buy it and go and pour it and go, "What the fuck is this?" Because it's not a stout. I mean, it is by definition, but not by appearance. I am confused myself more. It's got a fragrance. That's the word I was looking for. Fragrant oils. It's got fragrance of orange, but I can see the raspberry. The white chocolate is mostly the aroma. It's just still there, but it's a fabulous taste. It's fabulous. Really nice. Just really confusing, you know. Um, but nicely sweet. I like the sweetness. A lot of people won't get the sweetness on this. Just yeah, a massive collision of different flavors and different confusions of a beer. Yeah, yeah. And to find this sort of beer in a supermarket that challenges the taste buds, makes you think, what the fuck is this? You know, and goes all different ways. There was a there was a turning point beer at Ealing Beer Festival. I just realised I've actually done a connection without realising. There was a turning point beer that Rasco loved called Bamboozle because it had all different flavours, took you in all different directions, and this is what this does. It takes you well away from a regular stout, even a Vocation stout, and it just takes you so far away from a chocolate stout towards white chocolate with a little bit of fruitiness. But for me, I'm getting orange. I'm getting orange oils. So yeah, so it's mind blowing. But mind blowing. I nearly said it. I nearly said one of the best white stouts. But at no point do they say a white stout. They just say chocolate stout. At no point do they say a white stout. Creamy white chocolate and raspberry blend with the roasted wort for our signature stout. It's nothing to do with their signature stout. Naughty and Nice is a chocolate stout. Nothing to do with that at all. There's no chocolate, like milk chocolate. There's definitely a subtle jammy sweetness, but the subtle jammy sweetness is orange marmalade. Rich chocolate flavors? No, there's absolutely no rich chocolate flavors in your traditional thoughts of chocolate. Your Bournvilles, your Dairy Milks, nothing like that at all. It's not even that much in the way of Milky Way, to be fair. And yet, absolutely love it. Really, really nice. Really, really different. Definitely smooth, with that slightly raspy outer edge. Just this is a good point, actually, Shark. I've not done this for any because I think I've picked all these up this year. Fairly certain. Let's have a look. Yeah, best before 02 2026. I think for the first stream ever, I've completely forgotten to look at all the dates. So this middle one, the King Rat, delicately printed on the edge of the can. Best before 28th of Jan 2026. So yeah, I'm fairly certain they're all in date. They haven't sat around too long. And the Jiddlers Tipple, fucking hell. For a hazy pale ale, it says best before 06 2026, and that's nuts. I can't believe that either, but it definitely says 2026. So yeah, a phenomenal set of in-date beers. Really enjoy all of these beers. Yeah, surprisingly, I'm doing in-date beers, but it happens now and again. Oh, sorry, I hope I missed that one. Cut half a thumb tip off yesterday. Do not do much typing. Gonna shoot and get some beauty sleep, mate. Night all. Well, I've seen your AI. If you get some beauty sleep, we'll see you next month. I can do humour too. Fuck you. No, Hopper, thanks, man. Thanks, everything. And thanks for the shout out last week as well. I didn't have time to deal with it very well, but I put a post out. Thanks, nah, Hopper out. Thanks very much indeed. Cheers. Any unlikely event you've not checked out Hopper, just type in Hopper reviews. You'll find them. Fair play. Absolutely take care. Old beer could have lost its flavour. Now it's not old beer. It hasn't lost its flavour. It's here. Maybe like if I had this one on its own saber. So I've had 2 hazy IPAs, right? If I just had this, would I still be getting that slight hazy IPA note, slight pale ale note? Because I've looked at it and it's pale. I don't know. But I'm just saying what I've got. I'm not getting white chocolate. I'm definitely not getting milk chocolate. But I'm getting that slightly milky, as you say, lactose with a bit of fruit. I could it's like a little plop of raspberry every now and again, but mostly a bit orange on the bitterness from the back end of bitter chocolate. It's yeah, mad. Really quite sweet. Yeah, and that again, that bitterness is that orange kind of bitterness. And I like it. I really like this beer. Best beer of the night? Possibly. These 2 were pretty good, to be fair. This one's genuinely decent. And I know what Dave Wilson says about Vocation, a little bit on the fence. As a supermarket beer, it's very different. Lots to find. Price point for 6.6% beer. I can't remember what it was. I'm sure I picked it up in I picked it up in like a 3 for 2 deal. I think I got it at a different time for these. So this one is older, I think, in terms of when I picked it up. All 3 beers have been great. Really have been good. You can tell how good it was, right? Last week's stream on Supermarket Beers, the 3 from Marks and Spencer's, I struggled to get through the hour. In fact, I think it was 58 minutes. And the middle beer, I eventually did sink pour because I just couldn't be bothered with it. And even the Vocation, the actual chocolate stout, dark stout, I'm like, it took me a while to get through in the end. These 3 beers I have smashed down and really enjoyed. And yet, I'm on an hour and a quarter. So, yeah, 3 great beers, really interesting, really different. Just really enjoyable, honestly. This means I've got an hour and a half where I haven't had to think about real life. So I'm going to sit and think about that one after the event. Right, yeah. So yes, that's the thing. Chocolate orange tiramisu. That's why I was thinking about that, because of that orange note. And there was oddly an orange note here, not unwelcome, to be fair. So yeah, I'm going to try and put that up maybe this Sunday, if not the following. I've been trying to do it for the last 2 Sundays, but work and real life and shit. But yeah, I'm really interested in that one. Got a couple of other random stouts with slightly not odd adjuncts, but yeah, different. So we'll see how that goes. I'll try and get that way Sunday. I will try. I tried to do the Turning Point custard session last Thursday, but life shit and work got in the way. I don't think I'm brewing on Thursday, so I might do it. Well, I'm planning to do it tomorrow. If not, I'll do it Thursday, but we'll see how that goes. But yes, thank you very much indeed, Mr. Wilson, for popping in as well. And everybody as well for popping in. I'm going to cut it there, mostly because I really need a piss, because I've had 3 really great beers and I've really enjoyed this one. So yeah, hopefully we'll see you tomorrow. I've been Disco of Just Disco Beer Reviews. Do some live beer reviews here in front of the cans and bottles on the bar. Oh, I'm still hazily calling the Disco Arms. You've been fantastic. If you're watching this after the event, thank you very much indeed. Please comment, and if you haven't already, like and subscribe and all that jazz. I'm just gonna, yeah, I'm bouncing. I'm gonna bounce out now. Have a great week. Maybe see you tomorrow or another time during the week. Cheers all. Cheers and enjoy the beers.